Hi and welcome to Art on the Brain. This is Kelly Drake, and today I have a demonstration of a figure drawing that took 20 minutes, and it's done with charcoal on just a pad of newsprint. Okay, so starting out here, I'm just trying to get myself some guidelines, and I try to start out with something that's going to give me the feel for the pose and try to get that slant in her body. And also that arm is important because it's in the foreground and it's at an interesting angle and crosses her body. So I got the torso and her arm and hand down first. And then I tend to try to find the major joints. So I found that knee and drew a straight line down to the ankle and then started to fill in the calf a little bit. The same thing here. This leg really curves down at the bottom and the foot is in an interesting position, so I have some curved lines there. But see, I found both knees, and now just putting in a little bit of the other arm and some of the drapery from her costume. I usually save the head and neck for last or close to last and see I correct as I go, and figured that when I looked at it the chin was a little lower there in relationship to the shoulder, so move that down a bit. And I like to put some shading on the face and head first before getting into any detail, and I think that's better because then you won't get too caught up in the detail, which I hate to say it, but I got a little caught up in the detail of the face anyway, so here I'm going to spend a little too much time on this at this point in the drawing, but it turns out okay, so once in a while you can indulge yourself. I'm going to touch it up a little bit with the stump there. My fingers are too big for that area, which should tell me there shouldn't be so much detail in that area, but you know, you don't always listen to yourself. So, okay, now going in, putting a little more of that dramatic lighting in and shadow that we have set up for the model, and some of the more interesting lines in the clothing. This model designs her own clothing, and she's a Buto dancer, so she comes in with some really fun, interesting things to draw. Now you've probably been wondering why I've neglected finishing that foot up until now. This is one of those things you just have to be patient and adjust according to what the model's doing, and she had her toes up in an interesting way, and then when I went to draw them she put them down to stretch out a little bit, so I had to wait till the end here till she put her toes back up to draw that again. So now just putting in some shadow so it looks like her feet are on a surface. And toward the end here, I like to put in some dark lines to give some emphasis to the pose and the way and the different angles that I find interesting, and also find some of the landmarks of the body, like the shin bone and the kneecap, and some of the exterior outlines that give this drawing more drama. Finishing up the hand there. And now I'm going to spend a little too much time on the face again because it happens to everybody. I think her face is so small on this drawing and it's back far enough. You don't need a lot of detail, and I don't put in too much really, but I just think I spent a little too much time for a 20-minute drawing on the face, but that's okay. Now I think this is a good thing, putting a little more, getting the light and shadow a little more right. Touching up the features a little bit again. And getting in some darks. So now it looks like she's sitting on air, which I didn't really want that to happen, so now I'm going to add in some of the drapery she's sitting on. Just wanted to make sure I had enough time to get the figure in there before I messed with the drapery. And I have just enough time to get some of that in, put a little bit of shadow, and make sure that it sits back a bit so it doesn't compete too much with the figure. So that's a 20-minute drawing of Katrina. Also, please remember to like this video and hit the subscribe button below if you'd like to learn more art techniques, tips, and tricks.